Oh yeah, so I remember I was wanting to share in the middle of the come up, because right now I'm doing something very different. Either I have no music, I'm sitting in the silence, no blindfold. Because honestly, I'm not that interested in in the visuals. I am well aware of the absolute beautiful intensity of nature and the universe. You know, I'll share one more thing before I go into the actual heart of my message. Is about a week and a half ago, I did 10 grams lemon tech with the turmeric and black pepper straight up, and meaning all at once. And that was, and that was penis envy too, by the way, just to make sure abundantly clear. That was way too much because it completely catapulted me off this planet. You lost all capability of anchoring yourself to anything familiar. And to go that far all at once, I probably should have worked up to it because I knew how strong these were. I had done the 12 grams. So let me separate this. So 10 grams at once, lemon tech with turmeric and black pepper, in comparison to my 12 gram experience. But that was broken up. That was 4 grams plus 3 grams at the peak. At the peak of the 4 grams, I took an additional 3. And then at the peak of that combo 4-3, which was an additional 2 hours later, I took an additional 5. And I almost felt nothing from the 5 physically. But I think the sustaining of my consciousness at the previous level is what happened. So the difference. Oh, and the other aspect of the 12 was I drank those. I didn't lemon tech that. And I didn't do the turmeric, and I didn't do the black pepper. So the experience is light years. Like the 12 grams I stayed on this planet, I stayed in deep contact and just pouring, just absolute pouring. Like you heard in the recording, I felt like Jesus, and that was honest. Just a love radiating my heart like a great yellow sun, or even mint green color, just radiating out to life. Was absolutely stunning. But the difference of taking the 12 grams like that, but again, this is all coupled with my own personal spiritual attainment. So it's going to be different for each person. Definitely different for each person, and what your intention is. I'm not that interested in seeing the visuals. You have to understand that. The visuals can be quite distracting. I know what awaits in the universe. I am already aware of that. I can contemplate that and feel it any waking moment of the day, completely sober. So I no longer need the visuals. In fact, the visuals are a distraction. What I want is the lesson, and not to be distracted by the lesson. So that is my purpose of making this recording, is just to teach that subtle difference. Yes, the visuals will be entertaining at first. But what you really want is the lesson. If you listen, you still yourself, you still your mind, you will become one with the lesson over time. That's the way I experience it right now, is I become one with my higher mental body, with my God self. You become one with your own God self. It's not even like being spoken to anymore. You feel that over time, but in the end, you literally just enter into your God self at some point. And I think that just has to do with time and your spiritual awareness and how much house cleaning each soul has done. How much house cleaning? Because all the stuff that comes up, your family stuff, your personal stuff, your memories, all of that is distraction from becoming one with your God self in the present moment, where everything in the universe can be taught very simply, very efficiently. All right, so that's the purpose of this recording, or pardon me, this recording, is to capture that distillation, that difference of all these different ways to experience psilocybin. And that, I think, what I'm capturing today is really the essence of what will be for each party. Now, here's what I want to say. Something in conjunction with all this is everybody thinks, or for the most part, I shouldn't say everybody, I'm going to generalize though. Everybody needs to be aware that I am generalizing right now, is that there's a general consensus is that everybody's experience will be different. Yes, there is truth to that, but there's also an underlying greater truth. And I want to distill that for a moment, okay? So as you work through your personal bullshit, okay, I'm just going to call it bullshit, because literally every part of our embodiments, whether it's this one or the previous embodiments, everything that is not the absolute purest perfection of life and truth is bullshit. It's one or the other. It's crystal clear, black and white difference. That is the utter truth, my friends. The utter truth. We're either living in the absolute perfection of crystal clear distillation of universal perfection, or it is some kind of shadow and cloud upon that, and therefore bullshit. So the purpose is to remove the bullshit. Don't worry about the details. The details are unimportant, whether it's a person, place, thing, whatever the memory is that you've held on to through the years, through the centuries, through lifetimes. See it for what it is. Because when you label it, this is the proper use of labeling, by the way. The proper use of judgment is to put it on the scale of truth. This is the only time you should be an absolute dictator upon life, is upon your own life. You label it as bullshit, and you dissolve it, and you get rid of it from your life. When you label it and you cast your judgment upon the bullshit, that is the only time judgment should be applied to life. Do not apply it to others. Judgment should be reserved for your own self. Under the highest level of personal scrutiny, that is what psilocybin will do for you. If you use it properly, you will go into a deep introspection, or can, and you scrutinize your bullshit and you clean your house. And when that house cleaning happens, as you get closer and closer to a perfection of the house cleaning, you will become more responsible. You will be seen by the perfect, all-seeing eye of God. Let's just call it that. To become ready to receive your divine inheritance, which includes so many things. Not only does it include perfect health for your physical body, as you clean your as you become attuned, because all your process, as you house clean, you're also raising your vibration slowly, gently. Doing it too fast, see, that's the danger of going too far, is that you skip over things that need to be taken care of. And then you come crashing back. Go gentle. More, or I should say, less is more. Go gentle. Clean your house as you go forward. Clean your house. Honestly, 2 grams of high quality psilocybin should be plenty for most, if you take it under the proper intention of doing house cleaning. Like if you're wandering around the world and using it as some kind of entertainment, going to a club, you actually are not going to get the same intensity as doing it quietness, because the purpose is to let the world dissolve away, let your ego dissolve away, let your entertainments dissolve away. Then the fullness of the lesson can be made manifest in your heart. It's a way different experience. And when you do that, you will feel a deep gratitude coming from nature, coming from the fungi itself. Because this is what it wants to teach mankind. This is its purpose. Not to be used as an entertainment. To hear the teaching, it's going to reconnect you with your own divine self. At first, it's going to sound like a disembodied voice. And actually, I'm going to further clarify that, is you can be spoken to. I had that experience very distinctly, like I recorded in that last private video about, it felt like a tribunal being brought before those 3 distinct beings, them unloading on me. And the reason why they unloaded on me, like I do not require the nurturing, okay? Here's a distinct difference. The general populace of mankind require a very gentle hand, okay? They need that. They need that. People are talked to all the time and may not even realize the gentle voice of wisdom within them is slowly nurturing them, okay? But when you progress forward in your spiritual awakening, and you take on a certain responsibility, and you're given a gift of clarity, and you don't use that in the proper way, especially like me, like I said, I was told exactly what to do for people, and I didn't follow through properly. It's a greater responsibility. And the intensity of that responsibility is what I was held accountable for. And this is not going to be maybe truly understood by others just yet. But as you progress, I think you will certainly understand as you progress. And I'm only sharing this because it's just flowing out. I have no intention. As I'm talking right now, I have zero intention. I have no idea what the next words out of my mouth are going to be. It's just flowing. I'm just speaking it as the essence is being distilled into me right now. There's no trace of ego in me in any of this. The ego in me is completely shattered, beloved ones. It is shattered. So even though I may be speaking purposefully, forcefully, with utter clarity, should not be received as any kind of self-aggrandizement, okay? This is all known deeply within yourselves. The universal knowledge is not owned by anybody. It is there to be tapped into and shared. This is what we are. In the utter stillness of our perfection that's waiting for us, this is what we are, the knowledge that is available to our use is there waiting for your awakening and attunement. It's been held through the centuries awaiting you. And it will always be there, just waiting for you. For that time you make the decision to step away from all your entertainments and distractions. Do your house cleaning. And again, accept your responsibility in the light. It is vast. It is so powerful. It's waiting for you, because once we fully accept that and integrate that into our being, it does not mean you have to do anything particularly different on the outer. Whatever your outer service is being, you will be insulated and protected from on high as you take on your greater responsibility. Doesn't mean bullshit won't come and slap you in the face every once in a while from the outer world, from those that are yet unawakened. It can, but how you will handle it will be very different. You will be spoken to on the inner, exactly how to handle it with grace, without taking the energetic beating from the outer world, from other people. You will shut that down at your gate so it's not internalized before it enters and does any kind of destructive work on your own inner crystalline pattern of your being that you are rebuilding. You will shut it down, and by holding it outside yourself, you can see it with perfect clarity without internalizing it. And you will be shown exactly how to respond to people with grace, with love, with power, to help those. Because when you can be in that space and you speak to others, it can happen, people. It can happen that they will have an awakening moment. Doesn't always happen, but they will recognize in you holding that space. As I speak these words, I can just imagine how Jesus being on that sham trial before Pontius, I'm trying to remember his name, Pontius Pilate or something of that nature, that Roman emperor, holding that trial. He did not want to be. Pontius did not want to be in that position, but he felt forced to be in that position. Something in him recognized. Here's something people need to understand. Pontius actually recognized the truth to some degree of what Jesus was teaching. Yet he was forced. He felt his hand was forced because the Pharisees at the time, the priesthood, were so threatened, and they were manipulating the law of the land at the moment. And they put Pontius on the spot, okay? They put Pontius on the spot through their manipulation of the law of the land. So his hand was forced to put Jesus on that trial. It is absolutely disgusting. This still happens today, people. It still happens today in our legal system through manipulation by the lawyers who know better, who should know better. Anyhow, Pontius knew to some degree that what Jesus was teaching was the God's honest truth. Something in him recognized that. He was not happy having to be put in that position. So I can just imagine Jesus holding that perfect distillation of truth and being questioned by the Pharisees in the sham court held by Pontius himself, who had to be present. And just imagine him holding that. Man, I wish if I wasn't there, I mean, who knows? Any of us could have been there in presence. But I feel it. I utterly feel it right now as I speak these words. Because I can feel the universal essence of the consciousness that Jesus was holding as he spoke the utter truth to these people. And it was like a sword fight. Just imagine the sword fight the Pharisees brought on in the legal system and the courts. It was a masterful swords fight. And I can just imagine Jesus utterly won that with one hand tied behind his back, with half his brain. Actually, I'm going to borrow something from Rush Limbaugh, because I think he said something that was from his higher self. I'm not saying this because I was in agreement with everything that came out of Rush Limbaugh's mouth, because it is not the highest distillation of truth. But I want to borrow something that was his opening, not monologue, but it was just the opening to his show. If any of you ever heard his show, he said something utterly brilliant. I'm paraphrasing, but it was something about using his argument against the leftists of the world with half his brain tied behind his back. Oh my God, the first time I heard that, I was just in utter stitches. Because that is how I want to communicate how Jesus, I can feel it, how he handled this court, where the very existence of his physical body was in the balance. But he was not concerned about his physical body, my people. He was not concerned. He knew this was coming. I don't know how. He could have been shown this when he was just a youth. He probably had this vision and understanding that when he decided to come back into embodiment, which he did not have to, he decided to come back into embodiment and give mankind the ultimate lesson. And because no one has done this beforehand that we are aware of in our oral histories, in our written histories that we have in our possession right now. We will know later on when we can access all these records in perfect clarity, but he may have been the only one in the history of this planet's existence to make that particular decision to return to physical embodiment without having made the other, or I should say, accepting his graduation of Ascension, okay? Because there is a distinct difference, my people, of someone accepting their graduation and moving on. When they do that, they have made an ultimate decision of how their service from that point on can be handled. And when they make that decision, they are making with utter clarity that they think they have fulfilled all they can fulfill while still in physical embodiment, okay? And so I want to come back to something, so I hope I remember this as I move forward. I want to come back to Saint Germain and all of his years in working through the European courts and the kingdoms and trying to influence those of highest authority in the land to do the right thing. Try to teach them how to listen to their own God self. Through the secret societies, through the Rosicrucians, through the He created, I don't know this as an absolute fact, but I know he created the Rosicrucians. I know he created the Freemason Society. I have a distinct suspicion that through all of our recent secret societies, other societies besides the Rosicrucians and Freemasons, that he had his particular hand in bringing those about, because he maintained physical embodiment for hundreds of years, people. He maintained, before he took the Ascension, he maintained, I don't know the exact date, at least I'm not recollecting it right now, when he decided to make his Ascension. I feel like that was revealed to me, or maybe it was to the group of us in the I Am activity at some point, when he made his decision to complete his earthly experience. Because he was an utter master. He did not have to be here. But he maintained a physical body with 99.9% perfection. Because until you accept the Ascension, you can err. It is possible for errors to happen. You are not 100% perfect until you accept the magnitude of returning to the fullness, the full embrace of your inheritance, which is the Ascension. And from there, you enter into cosmic service, people. You don't just dissolve back into some kind of universal consciousness. No, you maintain a very distinct self that has nothing to do with ego. It is your journey. It is what you understand. It is all your understanding coming to fruition into a universal service that can be either upon this planet or well beyond this planet. Because there are live streams, there are countless live streams in the same classroom, or similar classroom, I should say, throughout the entire universe. And I think most of you understand and have pondered just how utterly vast the universe is. We can't even comprehend what is outside our own galaxy, the Milky Way galaxy, people. There is no way to fathom the grandness of the universe with the human mind. It is utterly impossible. And anyone who thinks they have gone beyond that is doing their pure conscious understanding. Has nothing to do with the physical mind whatsoever. The physical mind is just an antenna. It's just an antenna. When you use it properly, I should emphasize that. When you become into reattunement, the physical mind becomes a tool of receiving finer impulses. And then it will carry that out through your physical body and bring all your cellular structure back into harmony. And that is a slow process. It shouldn't be fast, people. It can't be fast. It's too shocking. It's too utterly shocking. And there needs to be a gradual process. It takes time. That is the purpose of time, is to perform these gradual processes upon our mind and upon our physical structure to bring it back into full attunement. Oh, I love this other train of clarity. It just pours forth. I hope you all can just be here with me as I share this and accept it and feel it. This is yourself. I am literally speaking as your own higher mental body. This is you performing before you. I had not established the courage to do this on camera just yet, or in the physical presence of other people. It doesn't have to be done that way. But as I speak those words just now, I can feel, just imagine those 12 disciples sitting in front of Jesus as he spoke to them in this almost same manner, people. It is the same. This is the oneness of the universe. Now I'm coming back to my original point I was making long ago in this conversation was, I went off on a distant tangent, but the purpose of me bringing up the point about how your journey is different to a point, to a degree that is truth. But truth is relative. When you reach a point on the truth, you will hop over to the next level of truth, okay? And there is a distinct hop. There is a gap to be had. There's a leap, and your own higher self will bridge that for you. You don't have to worry about it. When you walk yourself up to that cliff of understanding, because it is kind of like a cliff, when you walk up to that cliff, you will discover that distinct edge, and your own higher self will bridge the gap for you. You don't have to worry. It will be taken care of, and you will know exactly what I mean when you reach that point. It's all part of the divine plan. Your part is to walk up to the edge. I shouldn't use the word cliff, because there could be some crazy misunderstanding, like people are supposed to leap to their death or something, all right? Your body is a temple. It is designed to be maintained and carried into utter perfection at some point. And until we do that, we have been failing people. Every time you bury a body in the ground, or it's cremated, and has not been lifted into utter perfection, it can be failing. I mean, to a degree. I mean, it's possible, well, I should say, it is possible to accept your ascension at the moment you have laid down the body. Okay? That is possible. All things are possible in the universe. So I'm just generalizing. The grandest experience is to carry your temple into utter perfection. Consciously. To be that shining example. And this will happen. This is what Jesus did for us. He gave us that example to remind us of what we are supposed to do. And this will happen again more and more as time marches on and the spiritual understanding and the people reawaken. Entire societies will do this. But until then, we need things. We need these things called temples of healing that are coming into the consciousness of mankind. I mean, I'm talking about tens of thousands of years ahead, okay? But between now and then, mankind will require the concept of healing. It's a temporary concept, people. The concept of healing is temporary. It is a tool to be used by those who have yet to fully embrace the magnitude of what they are. That's not to say those that have even accepted that, such as myself, I am in the process of understanding and accepting that. It's not instantaneous. It is gradually revealed to you, because it can be shocking. It can be utterly shocking as you walk yourself slowly back up into the magnitude of what you are. But at a point, it becomes so welcomed. There is no more struggle, people. Once you work through your bullshit, there is no more struggle. For example, for me just to step into my higher self today was no struggle, because I have learned to welcome it, and you will too. But it takes time to break through the chains that the family teaches you, the family structure, the schooling structure, everything you see on TV, everything in the outer world pressure. There is a literally, you have no idea the outer world pressure, the magnitude of that pressure of vibration that is held within the structure of this planet, or the atmosphere of this planet. It doesn't go into the structure. Well, God, man. Someday I'll come back to this. I'm going to bypass this point for the moment about how it does go into the structure of the planet, meaning it does manipulate things at the molecular level. The negative vibratory impact of mankind's misuse of their free will does affect the molecular structure of the planet to a degree. But that's a whole nother conversation. Well, maybe we'll entertain it today. I have no idea where this is all going. Like I said, I'm just speaking as the utter flow of this. There is no hesitation. The clarity, this is where you all want to be. And this is where you all will be. There is no distinction between your higher self and the words that you can speak and the lessons that are being taught. As I speak these words, people, I am in a state, just so you understand, my personal state of being is of being in school. I am here with you as a witness to everything that is being said in this very moment. And I am completely, utterly receptive. There is no distinction in my receptivity. But for you, you will feel a distinction up to some degree. Be receptive. Humble yourself. And you will be taught on the inner everything you need to know to walk yourself right back to this point where you can be an utter, perfect understanding and witness to the magnitude of yourself. It is beautiful. I am here witnessing beauty. I have accepted this as myself. But it is yourself as well. This is where the oneness of the universe, when you reach this level, there is no distinction. What I mean by that is, every single one of us, this is yourself. The words I speak now are the words you will speak. It is identical. There is no difference. This is the absolute oneness of the experience of what we are, people. So your journey is distinct to some degree, but once you get through all your bullshit, you re-merge, you reintegrate with the oneness. There's still a sense of distinction. Like, I'm still aware of my own personal journey. There is a dichotomy, but I believe, this is my belief, is once you ascend, well, even then, I think you will always retain the essence of your journey. The struggle you will understand the struggle is there, or the memory of the struggle will be there for all your lifetimes. But the feeling has been complete. The feeling of those memories has been completely purified. Does that make sense? Your memories will be there, but the feeling has been completely reabsorbed into utter perfection. Because you cannot carry any, not even one tiniest particle of disharmony into the ascension. But the purpose of me doing this psilocybin on a daily basis now is, and this will stop at some degree. I will no longer need the psilocybin at some degree. And this is what I've been teaching those who are willing to listen is, you will not, psilocybin is not a drug in the same manner. There's no addictive qualities. Well, I should say I'm highly addicted, if you could term it like that right now, to the dissolving of the physical body you experience with the psilocybin, because that catapults you into a place, when this is all used properly, it catapults you into a place of utter stillness. And that stillness is where you merge again with your higher self, when you are ready and you have done your homework, when you have cut through every last vestige that this world holds upon you, people, you will enter into a complete re-emerging with your higher mental body. It doesn't mean you're perfect. But as I speak these words before you today, this is what is happening to me right this moment. There's no ego in me conveying this. It's just what is. There's no ownership. There's no ego in me to own any of this. It's what is. This is yourself. This is utterly yourself talking to yourself. This is something my teacher said to me, back in Mexico, is he often felt like, this is what he's told me anyway. He said, talking to me, meaning me, he felt like he was literally talking to himself. And it made him chuckle many times. That's how close he was. I mean, there was almost no distinction left in him between his physical, his embodiment had almost utterly, completely merged with his higher mental body. When he spoke to me at times, when I asked him the perfect questions and he gave his perfect answer to me, his eyes literally changed color from brown to blue sometimes, like a crystalline blue. And he spoke with utter divine clarity to me. And it sometimes, when I was in the perfect mode of receiving the lesson that he uttered upon me, it took a part. Here, I'm going to clarify something that I spoke into my earlier videos. If you watch those videos, here, listen to these words now. I'm going to clarify something. It's a two-part process. And I said this in my videos. It's identical to an electrical circuit we use in our houses, the positive and the negative. You need both parts. I, in a sense, was the negative. He was the positive. Actually, it doesn't really matter which, but the purpose of what I'm trying to communicate is a circuit is completed. A circuit is completed, and you need both parts. I shouldn't say both parts are required. The universe doesn't need this to happen, but this is the process of being shown a clear and utter taste of what you are. And this happened to me with him just saying words to me. His vibration of those words, the words were just cups for the vibration that came out of his lips of what his knowledge was that he tried to convey to me in that moment. It was utter perfection happening. He spoke the words, and I had an utter revelation that catapulted me into the knowledge my own higher self has been trying to impart upon me for lifetimes. This is what the word revelation means. It is an utter physical experience, people. It is a physical and is so far beyond the physical, but it is physical. You are shattered out of the vestige of anything that the body holds upon your mind, your consciousness. It shatters. That is revelation. This is the clearest distillation of how I can convey this. Whatever hold this physical experience, the limitations of the physical experience has upon your consciousness is utterly shattered. And revelation occurs. You are taught on the inner, in the cellular, whatever's left of your understanding of the physical experience is taught the fullness of what you are. You bring your cellular structure into understanding of what you are. That process was started for me in that very moment in my teacher's presence. I'm sharing this with you so you will understand. This is not an ego beating his chest, trying to convey how spiritual I am. It is utterly beyond that. This is yourself talking to yourself, people. Dear brethren, you have no idea the magnitude of my love for each and every one of you that may hear this message right now. The magnitude of my love for you is literally loving myself. There is no difference. Loving yourself, you love your brethren. Loving yourself, you love your brethren. God, words are just, trying to speak words sometimes was just flowing through my consciousness is utterly ridiculous, people. We have to get through. We will get past this. You will speak directly mind to mind. I have done this with a friend of mine, or at least I received his thoughts in utter clarity once. And that is absolutely beautiful when that happens, because the need for words is so vulgar. And when we can move past that, so much more clarity can happen. The distillation is so much cleaner. The distillation of spirits and alcohols we use now is utterly perfect for the alchemical distillation of truth coming back into your consciousness, people. You dissolve. You take. Let's think about vodka for a moment. You're taking the expression of divinity, which happens to be corn at the moment, and you're transforming that rough. It is so rough, people. I don't even know how to convey that. The expression of corn and matter in all its forms is so. It's vulgar in some. I don't know if that's the right word. I guess that's an appropriate word. It is a vulgar expression of divinity. The more things are forced to come into this physical expression, is its most vulgar expression of divinity. It doesn't necessarily want to be there. It wants to be more an ethereal expression. It is so much more free and pure in that form. But divinity is malleable, and it allows itself to be used in even these vulgar expressions that we require in this journey, people. Through this physical journey, it is malleable. It is its love to us to allow it to be malleable even into these absolutely vulgar expressions. That is a love like you don't even understand, people. I feel it so utterly deep right now. Oh my goodness. I love being taught this. This is it's just new for me. You are witnessing me being taught something new in this utter moment. And I am feeling it to the fiber. So the cellular structure of my being is bringing tears to my expression. To my physical expression, tears are happening. And that's when I know I'm being taught something new. It is just a refinement. It's just a simple refinement to an understanding I probably already had in my remembering of what we are. But this is the beauty of receiving a slight refinement to your understanding, is that, I love this is what's going to catapult you into the utter, absolute re-emerging of your love into what nature is doing for us, people. Nature is so utterly at our service. These beings don't have free will in the same extent that you and I do. Nature beings, they will literally bow down to you as you accept your divine inheritance, because they recognize that we have taken on the highest expression of the universe expanding, and that is free will. Nature beings do not have free will. They are a clay, but they are conscious. They are a clay that gets molded. Every expression that you see in the physical world in this very moment is literally an expression of consciousness from the past. It is like a clay. The nature brethren are a clay, and they have allowed, and they are molded. And the more we mold the universal substance into, I'm feeling this to try to convey this in the most purest distillation I can possibly embody in this moment. But so I'm being very careful about what I say, because I want to tease out the highest understanding I can in this moment. Oh, God, there's so much to love in this universe. Oh, even at these earliest levels of understanding, my friends, there is so much more awaiting us. So to get back to my point is, nature brethren are like a clay, and the more you embody your perfection, your inheritance that awaits you, even before the ascension, okay? Actually, I'm speaking only of the things before the ascension, because obviously I have not ascended. It's quite obvious. I'm here with you, a brother, on this journey. Maybe just walking a little bit before you. That's the only difference. I'm just walking the path a little bit before you. And I'm looking over my shoulder, calling out to you of what I see. In utter love, in the purest form of love that I know how to express at this moment. I'm calling over my shoulder to you of what I see in my consciousness, in the highest form of my consciousness I am able to embody at this moment. That's all this is. It is literally yourself just walking before yourself, calling over his shoulder. In a way, it's time travel, right? In a way, it could be considered time travel. It's not about going to a distant place. Because when you awaken, when you ascend, you will know everything. You can walk into everything in history and see exactly what happened. In a way, I was doing that for you even today. When I felt the moment of Jesus' experience, I'm teasing that out of the universal record. You can do this. You will feel this. You tease it out, but you have to be utterly still in your consciousness. There can be no vestige of this outer world touching your consciousness when this happens. Or I should say it can touch. Like I can feel it pinging on my consciousness. I am literally just shutting it out. And that takes training to just shut out the other world. That is the only purpose of training. Training's only purpose is to teach you to shut out the outer world and let the absolute purity of the distillation ping upon your consciousness. It will show you everything it needs to show you. And this is happening for me. This is the purpose of this recording, is to show you how this happens in your brother in the best way I know how to distill this, through words. Or I shouldn't say distill this, to express this in words while they're still required. I feel I've gone off on quite a distant tangent. Let's see if I can remember exactly what there was a point. This is what happens when you go so far. You'll feel these tangents and you just follow them. You just utterly follow them. And I had a purpose in making this video or this recording for all my brethren. And I still remember that. The purpose was, ultimately the purpose is calling over my shoulder what I see, so you too will remember. You will know exactly. You will follow this breadcrumb. I'm casting crumbs as I trail through the forest, my brethren, to walk back to the purest expression of yourself. This is not permanent. I will return, but I will bring back. Every time I do this, I bring back. And that's the reason why I keep doing this. The use of psilocybin. It takes less and less, by the way. I'm not taking 5 grams anymore. I'm literally down to 2 and 3 grams. 3 is my absolute max. 3 is what I took today. It's not required. It was too much. That's what I was trying to convey in my other messages. It's almost too much. Well, all right, I'll clarify what I'm trying to say is, as you're in liftoff mode, as it's coming on, as you're being carried right back into the presence of your higher mental body, which is what has occurred for me today, that's not what's going to happen to all of you, but it will. Over time, you will walk right back into the purity of being. But before that, when you're in the act of remembering the magnitude of what you are, it will be a slightly different experience. You have to go through the process of ego death. That is the first step. When you accept the fullness of your ego death, then you will proceed a little bit further, and you will welcome that. Each step forward becomes a pure reintegration. It's not as painful. The pain, the suffering you may experience, and I should say it's not really a pain, that's not the right word. It is a disassociation that is felt in a slight, it's a disorienting experience as you walk back into the fullness of what you are. It's disorienting. And it slowly becomes purer and more refined. That's the distillation. That's the alchemical distillation of the process. That's the clearest way I have the way of communicating it right now. And this utterly magnificent process. But it is utterly temporary. Oh, a deep yawn. So outside of this need of helping us remember, it does not exist. This alchemical process is specific, it is purposeful. That's how the universe works. It uses things for a very specific purpose, and that is all they're used for. It is utterly beautiful. It is so efficient. You have to understand that, people. The universe and consciousness is utterly efficient. So all your corporate understanding of efficiencies and business understanding of domestic life, of efficiencies, is vulgar is a vulgar understanding in comparison to the utter efficiency of universal consciousness. It literally cares not for our human condition. It wants us out of the human condition as fast as possible. But it is a process. The schoolroom is required. Not everybody, not every one of our brethren has got caught in this magnitude of deception, okay? Some of them remember before they fall into this whole pit that the rest of us have to be lifted out of. But those of us that have fallen into the bottom of the pit also serve a purpose, because we can lift those out as we remember what we are and who we are. Our service to life is lifting those that fall into the even deeper recesses. Look at those that are so utterly lost, my brethren. There are souls that are so utterly lost into utter despair. They are so deep into the shadows, they have no idea which is the right side up. And heroin and these other created substances, it shatters. It utterly shatters the ability to lift themselves out of the despair. Can you understand that? When people turn to these substances, like heroin, and the pharmaceutical companies that make this shit need to be held fully accountable. This is literally the most evil thing in our existence right now, other than the politics and some of the legal system and the manipulation, the conscious manipulation to entrap people in combination with some of these pharmaceuticals that have been created are the utter most disgusting expression of humanity that is even capable of occurring. And we are in the midst of that, people. We are in the midst of hell, where the general populace is, and they know not how deep in the hell they are. And to all those who can hold on to the positive frame of mind while they're walking in the other midst of hell is truly remarkable. When you can see these things from the level I'm sharing with you right now, and the utter contempt, you could probably hear in my voice, for any expression of life to consciously entrap another consciousness in creation into these pits of despair for money is the purest form of evil, my friends. Can you feel that contempt in me? But I am not touched by this contempt, by the negativity of this contempt. But I share this with you from my lofty position today. I see it with utter clarity. I am expressing it to you. If you are involved in this as a creator or a recipient of these tools, wake the fuck up. Wake the fuck up. Remember who you are. Remember what you are. You have at your disposal every good thing. Perfect health, all the wealth of the entire universe is at your disposal as we remember how to be responsible with it. There are those that may be in existence right now, people. Just to give you an example of this, I'm going to reflect on Sai Baba. Some of you may know that name. He was an Indian, we'll call him a prophet, who has recently made the change. But even as a child, he was able to manipulate nature to provide for him in his hand everything he needed. And he did this for his friends. He materialized for them things they needed for school, pencils, paper, whatever it was, he made it happen. He materialized for them sweets. The universe responded to him because he remembered who he was, even before he embodied. He must have made the decision to come back once again at a level of near perfection. Okay? For a child to know how to do that, it is quite obvious. He was utterly there in his previous embodiment. It's the only way it happens. He was there. He came back again to teach us all how to be. He was a great one. He was not as great as Jesus, but he was a great one. I shouldn't say that exactly. I think you understand what I mean. The magnitude of what Jesus did, leaving us the physical record of a conscious, complete, and utter reattunement into his ascension consciously may have never been done before. You understand what I mean? He was put on the cross as a physical body, stabbed with that spear in his side to make sure he was dead, put in the cave, his tomb. And he told everybody, he knew beforehand exactly what was going to happen. I am so utterly communicating to this in the greatest clarity I can muster. He did this knowing the full extent, maybe years beforehand, exactly what was going to transpire. Can you understand that? The magnitude of the physical pain and the suffering that could have been expressed by him, but he had transcended that. But just think of that. The magnitude of the suffering he consciously endured to leave us a record of how to get home. Feel that in your hearts, people. Feel it, embody that. He was the greatest brother we have known in recent history. And he did this for us. And all those who have come before and will come after will bow down before him in recognition of his service to us. Tears stream down my cheeks as I speak these words to you because I feel it with utter clarity, my friends. Life bows down to the majesty of the moment that Jesus consciously embodied as a service to us still in embodiment. I hope you all will have the experience of feeling this through the absolute depths of your being. Every bit of progress you make in this life, you owe it to him and everyone that has gone before. They cleared the way. He cleared the path. He changed the cosmic law of this planet with Saint Germain did this as well. There may have been others involved. I will know this later on. I feel it that I will know this later on. But what I know now, they changed the utter cosmic law regarding this planet so that each one of us could have an easier time of awakening. If I understand this correctly, before they changed this cosmic law, we could regress. I want you to feel the magnitude of this as I convey this. Before they changed this cosmic law, people, through their utter efforts in their service, they made a request for our benefit. Before they made this request, you could regress. So your spiritual progress as you walked the path back to remembering the magnitude of what you are, you could fall again into the shadows. You could be distracted on your path and utterly fall into the depths of despair, even though you made progress. Feel that for a moment. The magnitude of that difference, people. You can no longer fall back. I feel. This is my gift to you right in this moment. To feel it so deep, people. You can no longer fall back into the utter depths of despair. And you owe that debt of gratitude like no other to those who have gone before you. Just feel that. No one in all of existence on this planet, people, millions and billions of years of our brethren have gone before us in great achievement, great civilizations of awakening have gone before us, people. Trillions of our brethren, and yet no one had the depth of understanding to understand that they had a right to request that very thing from the universe as a gift to all of us. The very thought that someone understood that they had a right to ask for that, and that they did ask for that. Feel it. Feel it in the core of your being. The magnitude of that love. I'm going to keep this in this recording, people, so you can feel what it feels like for a brother walking before you to utterly feel the magnitude of what I'm conveying to you. This is what it feels like to have your cellular structure completely reworked in the magnitude of the moment of understanding. I share this with you, my brethren. I share this with you for the deepest parts of my love. I share this with you because I love you so utterly. Every one of you that comes in contact with my live stream, I love you. I utterly love you. I will do everything within my power to make more of these recordings as I cast breadcrumbs, as I walk before you. I shall not leave you behind. And this is what every one of those brethren have done before us. They have left us books. They have left us teachings. They have guided us to this very moment. But at some point, you have to embody it. And you will. I am doing this right now. You will do this too. You will embody it. It is beautiful. And you will not forget who you are as you do this. I can still be the husband and the father that I am. I shall carry on my business to this world. I have great aspirations still of doing artwork, of bringing buildings into fruition that help heal. A greater expression of my love is to bring forth these buildings of utter harmony for the brethren as they live and they carry on their journey on this planet. I know not if these things will happen, but I carry the picture, is even if I do not bring these things forth, someone else will, and my holding that picture will reach another consciousness that is ready to receive. And the more you do this without ownership, do not own these things, people. The ego owns is falsehood. You own nothing. We are merely remembering. And when we achieve perfection, then you may bring forth something magnificent and original. Until then, you are merely remembering, and you are being taught on the inner these things that are brought forth by others. Do not own your thoughts or your gifts that you bring forth for the benefit of mankind. Share them. Your ownership is a trap of the ego. Go beyond that. But even that, even for those that are trapped, the universe finds a way to bring their gifts to the people. Nothing is lost. Efficiency happens. But those who claim ownership are trapped in their own hell, and they know not. Until they recognize this, they cannot progress forward into the magnitude and the majesty of what they are. That is their trap, people. You do not have to kill those that are fucking up our world. The weapon suppliers, to the warlords in different parts of the world who carry on this travesty of expression, those jockeying for some utterly disgusting manipulation of other life streams through trafficking and thinking they must kill others to feel some kind of power. It's the most disgusting form of misunderstanding of the power that is your birthright. Yes, the power that you can embody is absolutely phenomenal. And people feel that, but they manipulate and they distort it. And then it becomes an expression of this suffering we see throughout the world, through these warlords butchering people, butchering children. And yet even that feeling at its core is divine. Understand that, people. Even the very feeling of that power is divine. They feel it, but it has been corrupted to an expression of the ego and coming through these layers of vibratory distortion in the atmosphere of the planet. This was what I was talking about at the very beginning of this. There's so much distortion in the atmosphere of this planet that unless you make the effort to cut through that distortion and hold your absolute purest harmony, you bring your antenna up and you can cut through all that distortion, my friends, to receive this utter purity of expression I am conveying to you in this very moment. This is what it feels like for a brother to utterly cut through the distortion of human creation. I speak these words to you. I share this with you as a memory that you may embody and take into yourself if you are willing to hear and embrace this as yourself. I am literally yourself talking to yourself, reminding you of what you are. But you do not have to feel and embody and take into your expression any longer the destructive tendencies of mankind in all their forms. You can cut through this. You can see through this. That is my purpose. As I move forward before you, I shall leave you these messages to help remind you how to cut through the bullshit we have all created through lifetimes of our expression, our misuse of our free will. It is utterly held in contempt. And I'm going to cut through this for you, my brethren. I'm going to cut through this as my greatest expression of my love for each and every one of you. With my brethren who are leading the way, and beloved Jesus, beloved Saint Germain, and all those who have left up these messages, I shall listen and embody this and leave these messages in the purest form I know how to convey, that they too may be a breadcrumb upon your consciousness if you choose to receive it, my love. Receive my love, my brethren. Receive my love in my utter humility and service to the light. This is the highest expression of my being. I can leave you right now. Oh, the vibration I pour forth from my heart in this very moment is utterly magnificent. I am so grateful. I am so grateful that I can remember the magnitude of what we are. I am so grateful. I am so utterly grateful. Feel it, my brethren. Feel my gratitude. I stand here as a witness of what you are. I stand here as an utter witness of the beauty and the magnitude of what you are. I accept all of that into my cellular structure. I want my body to become a living record of utter perfection. I don't know how far I can be able to carry this to my life and how it will manifest from this point forward, but I accept it all. Whatever may happen will happen. I accept it all. I accept the fullness of what I am. I know I don't understand the fullness of these words, but yet I have the courage to say these words, and I hope you will too, with utter feeling in your heart, utter clarity of purpose, my brethren, that you too will feel this purpose of your calling to speak those words to life. It will hear you. It will hear you. It's been waiting. It's been waiting for so long to hear these words spoken from our heart. It is here to help us. It is here for each of us who are willing to accept and move forward in the utter magnitude of what you are. Everything in life is waiting to hear you speak these words with utter purpose. I am doing this on this very recording, my people. I am doing this for the first time of my life. And the vibration that is pouring through me is magnificent. It is compelling me to its love. these words and I accept. I accept the fullness of everything our brethren before us have carried forth. I accept your teaching and your vibration into my being. And because I accept this, it will begin its work to tease out of me the full remembrance of what I am. You too will do this, my brethren. You too will do this. You too will do this. I so command it. It has been commanded before me, but I am casting my vote. I so command that you will remember as well. Because my vote counts. I smile as I say that. My vote counts. You have no idea how grateful I am that I have been able to receive this today as education to myself and as a sharing moment for each and every one of you. You have no idea my gratitude to be of service in this capacity for every live stream that may hear this recording and feel something, feel an awakening moment from it that is utterly my best service I can offer to life